Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I am Mike. Thanks for taking a moment of your day to spend it with me. Today, we are reviewing spoilers. We are spoiler reviewing a movie that just came out yesterday on Peacock, on the cock, called Sick. Sick on the cock. This movie is very exciting, or it should be, for Scream fans, because it's a new slasher movie that totally actually has the value to go to theaters. It's, for some reason, surprise dropped on Peacock, and it's directed by John Hyams, who, fun fact, is the son of Peter Hyams, who directed a bunch of classic Jean-Claude Van Damme movies back in the day. But it's written by Kevin Williamson, who wrote Scream 2, wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer, and stay tuned, by the way, because we're doing a ranking of all the Kevin Williamson movies soon here on the channel. And if you like stuff like that, if you like Scream, if you like Friday the 13th, if you like Halloween, if you like all that good stuff, updates on the news, reviews, fun stuff in the pants, then you should consider subscribing and clicking the bell so that you know when we make a video about the stuff and so you don't miss it. We'd appreciate it. Also, click like, because that'll help someone see this video and our parents to not think we're such failures. Just kidding. That will never change. But enough about my failures. Kevin Williamson not only wrote this script, but also Caitlin Crabb wrote this. I feel sorry for her. She was a crew member on Scream and wrote this with Kevin Williamson, but nobody's mentioning her. So well done, Caitlin Crabb, as well. The movie, if you don't know, which you should know because this is a spoiler review and you shouldn't spoil yourself because boys who spoil themselves don't get any custard. Sick is a pandemic horror movie, which I hate the idea of the pandemic movies coming out already, but we'll get to that. Features a mass killer trying to chase down Parker and her best friend who have escaped to this huge, beautiful cabin out in the middle of nowhere to get through a couple weeks of quarantine together. It's very, very, very Screamish. Screamish. That's title to Scream 8. Screamish. Hey, it'd be better than them naming Scream 5 Scream and then Scream 6 Scream 6. Why don't we just it's the Wild West out here. Who cares?
There's no rules!
Put your shirt back on.
There's one rule!
Now, first off, let's talk about the whole COVID-19 thing. So when the movie starts out, we're getting into spoilers now. The movie starts out, and I love how they did this, because they made it like two Screamish movies in one. The opening act of the movie is a little Scream short in itself. This dude is in the store, and you hear it literally, I still hear it sometimes when you go to like Walmart or something, you hear that sound come over the speaker, and it's like, we care about our employees. Please make sure you're keeping your social distances and all that stuff like that. It's still so fresh. It's so fresh on the soul. It's not gone yet, but still somehow already weirdly nostalgic, like in all the wrong ways. Now, I hated when the pandemic was going on and you hear all these people talking about, hey, we're making a movie about the pandemic. It's like, shut your fucking mouth, all right? I don't want to think about that shit for at least like 5 to 10 years. We just lived through it, all right? I don't need my entertainment to remind me of that scary shit. You know what I mean? But alas, here we are. And this one, it worked out well, and I understood why they did it. And we'll get to that as we go. But yeah, this dude's in the store and he's walking around. They throw you back all those vibes, and he starts getting texts. And again, so Screamish, she starts getting texts like, hey, I'm watching you, nice butt. He turns around and just does this. He doesn't seem bothered by this at all, by the way. I don't know if this new younger people are just desensitized to this kind of shit because of the internet, but that would scare the fuck out of me already. I'd already be freaking the hell out. I probably would have ran out of the store like the chick from Scary Movie did.
Cindy. Cindy.
He goes home, and the mass killer shows up. And, you know, would it have been cooler? Because the mask killer, they have the thing that just goes over their mouth and then just their eyes showing. They kind of look like a ninja. But would it have been cooler if they actually did a mask, or was that just too 90s slashers? I don't know. What do you guys think? I kind of wish they would have went with a mask, to be honest with you, I think. If they had a cool looking mask, I would have liked that better, I think. But anyways, yeah, the guy shows up and there's an awesome, tense-ass chase scene around his apartment, and they even show him cleaning the groceries and stuff. But by the way, did you guys do that? Because I did. For a long time, we cleaned all the groceries. Every box of fucking Fruit Loops and Pop-Tarts and everything got wiped down with the sanitizer. But awesome chase scene. He gets stabbed. He gets fucked up a little bit. You think he gets away, and it's a cool little moment. And this all feels so Kevin Williamson-ish, right? Like, there's a moment where he blocks the door, and he's like, I'm good. But his hand's bleeding, and then he gets pissed. And he's like, he's got a baseball bat. He's like, fuck it. I'm going out there. He goes out. He looks through it. And you just know what's going to happen. It seems like the guy's gone. And then right as he goes to close his door, killer shows up, slashes his throat just real quick, throws him to the side, bam, sick. Movie starts. Loved it. Loved the opening. So goddamn Screamish. And it's weird because it doesn't feel too on the nose to me. It doesn't feel too Screamish. It doesn't feel like they were trying to straight up copy it. It was just like, hey, Kevin Williamson, Scream DNA, it's going to be in there. And it feels like a soul sister to it. It was just far enough away, but yet close enough. I just thought the whole movie is just the perfect kind of Scream sister, and I love it. But then we meet Parker, played by Gideon Adlon, who's really good in the film. She was a badass. I actually thought she was the daughter from Karate Kid because she looks just like her. And we meet Miri, played by Bethlehem Million, who's good in the film as well. And so is their friend who comes over, DJ, played by Dylan Sprayberry. Dude looks just like fucking Derek Carr from the Raiders. They go to this location, this gigantic log cabin that's fucking beautiful. It's a great location for a horror movie, out in the middle of nowhere. All that stuff's laid out perfectly, but just enough cell phone service so that she can start getting weird texts too that are like, hey, I'm watching you. The water looks nice. Jump in for a swim. Just fucking with her just a little bit. She also, undeterred, just goes, I'll just block the number. No big deal. I'm like, someone just said they were watching you. You two girls in bathing suits, alone. You should be more concerned about this. What the fuck, you desensitized little shits? What movie is that from? Comment below. It should be easy. Your whole thieving, whoring generation makes me sick. I probably got that quote wrong, but it still makes me laugh. But we'll keep it as simple as the plot did. DJ comes over because he's got a thing for Parker, and like all three of these kids, I like them. They didn't make the classic slasher movie mistake of making all the characters pieces of shit who you didn't like. I mean, I'm not super into the whole love story business that was going on there, but still yet, they left just enough of those nice little red herrings and clues to kind of lead you in the direction of where this whole story is going. And I like that the dialogue all had a purpose, in that it was kind of like, this is going to come up later. So I like that, even if I wasn't like enthralled by their conversations or anything. But yeah, you've got the typical, they're hanging out, they're smoking weed, they're partying a little bit. There's constantly CNN on in the news corner somewhere reminding you the pandemic's going on. At one point, they're playing a drinking game where it says every time someone says Fauci, drink, which is something I really wish that we could have done. But let's be honest, if I drank 1% more than I did during COVID, I probably would have fucking died. But alas, the killer does show up, and there's just a litany of pretty cool chase scenes that happen. I mean, all through the next middle of the movie is just this killer chasing them around everywhere, and they unfortunately kill DJ. I liked him a lot. I thought he was a really likable guy, and all of them were likable, but like when he goes upstairs, he's like, I think there's someone in the house. They were actually smart about it. She wasn't like, nuh-uh, come on, man. Like, they immediately went into action mode. All three of these kids were smart. None of them were stupid or made really dumb decisions. I thought that was kind of refreshing a little bit. But the one of them goes to escape. He goes down to save the other girl, gets in a fight with the killer, and puts up a good fight. There was a nice little battle back and forth between those two. I thought it was choreographed. I thought it was done really well. And then when the killer actually kills DJ, that was gnarly, dude. I mean, we've seen this done before, but it was done really well. He opens the door and his feet are just like dangling. And I didn't know if the movie was going to get that, you know, there's a point where you're like, okay, how young adultish are we going here? How mean are we going to get with this? Because that's one of the things that makes Scream work, is how brutal and mean it was at times, mixed with the comedy and all that stuff. But when he's dangling out the door and he's just standing there doing this, and you could tell something's not right. And then that dude had that fucking deer thing or whatever it was in the back of him, like holding his body up, and then just pushed it, and like the blood sprays out of him right in front of her. Fucking badass. You needed it, and they gave it to us. I was sad to see DJ go, but that was a really good kill. And Parker proved herself to be a pretty good badass too. She takes down the killer, and you know, in that moment, you're like, oh, there's a twist coming right around the corner. Around the corner, around the bend, the convenience stores of Speedway. She gets the drop on the killer, and I think with a pan, I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure it was a pan, just beats the shit tits out of his face, killing him, and then you're like, oh, so he's not alone. And then right then, another killer shows up, and you're like, there's two killers, Stu! The other killer shows up, and she's like, oh, well, I'm fucked. This is great. It's been awesome. Takes off running. We got another chase scene, and the killer starts screaming. Like, you can tell, like, oh, he's really upset. She gets out to the woods, and the car that pulls up to pick her up. Now, they hinted at this a little bit in the trailer, but there's a twist in there, so they didn't give anything away, so I could appreciate that. But we did the trailer reaction on our Patreon. But car pulls up, and it's Jane Addams, who, by the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but that character in that mask scene is the let's get naked and start the revolution girl from Orange County. She's been in a bunch of other shit since, but that scene was awesome. I said, you better not. You better not. That was hilarious when she wouldn't let her in the car because she was like, no, you have to have a mask. And the girl's literally being chased by a killer covered in blood. And she's like, please help me. And she's like, you have to have a mask. You can't come in. And then the twist was she gets in the car. She's like, oh, I found a mask. Here you go. And then the girl starts to, as soon as the woman looked at her, I was like, oh, fuck, she's in on it. And she's like, this mask smells like chloroform, passes out. And here's where I actually did, I'll be honest with you, I did guess the twist in this. Because early in the video, early in the movie, they showed her making out with this dude at a party. Just randomly, her friend and her were talking about how DJ was going to be jealous about it. And she shows her making out with this dude. And she's like, yeah, I would have done more stuff with him if he hadn't totally ghosted me. And then when you put together the guy screaming when the other killer was dead, I did figure out the twist. I'm going to give myself credit for that. I don't know how easy it was, but I figured it out about 30 seconds before they told us, which was the kid she was making out with at the party. They sit her down and they do their basic Scream motive explanation. That's what I'm saying. It feels so much like a Scream film in all the right ways. And it's allowed to do that because it's written by Kevin Williamson. So basically, the guy that she made out with at the party, in the tags on Instagram, it was hashtag COVID party, hashtag COVID sucks, hashtag, all that stuff like that, like fuck COVID. We're going to have a get COVID party or whatever. One of those stupid ass things that people did when COVID was going on. And she's at this party. She makes out with that guy. That guy was their son, the guy she made out with. And he died from COVID after that, not long afterwards. So they blamed her for it because they saw that video. And they've been going around killing the people who were responsible for that party and spreading COVID while that was going on. That was the kid in the beginning of the movie who was also at that party and had something to do with it. So that's the big plot twist. The other killer that she killed was their son. And that's one problem that wasn't great about the film to me. It seemed like they moved on really quickly after that. She was like, yeah, that was my son. God damn it, that sucks. She cried for like a second and then just like moved right on. So it was like, okay, if one kid died and you're going to go through all this stuff because you're so upset, which that I understand. I'd be pissed too. Don't know if I'd go around murdering teenagers, but still, here we are. And then the other kid died and they were just like, that sucks. I can't believe you did that to our son. Damn it. But Miri's there and she's calling the police on the laptop, which, by the way, I forgot to mention, she had a gnarly ass scene where there's a chase scene and she falls off the roof and just like lands, and it looked pretty real. It looked gnarly. She barely survives it. She fucks her leg all up. That was a cool scene, really tense, really good chase scenes all the way through this movie. I dug them a lot. Soon as it goes on, the girls kill the guy and then they set the woman on fire and she runs out and literally dies in the middle of the road as the police are pulling up. Just, you know what? All around, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm going to give Sick an 8 out of 10. I love the throwbacks to the Scream universe. I love how much it felt like one of those movies. And again, wasn't too close, didn't feel like an exact ripoff, but just had that heart and soul, that DNA. It's a perfect soul sister to the Scream franchise. I thought it was pretty clever. It didn't try to be too clever. Like, it was pretty much it was a pretty simple premise for the whole thing, but they didn't try to overdo it and like saw it with like the dun 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 dun. They knew it was pretty simple and they kept it simple. And I appreciated all that about this movie. It fit with the times of it being COVID. The stripped back layers of the movie worked for me. I thought it was pretty funny at certain times. I thought the twist was decent. I thought it was smartly written. I thought the action scenes were great. I thought the horror was just enough of the spiciness to make it a little bit scary, or at least on the edge of your seat, and make it a good thriller. And I like Sick. It's just a cool little movie, man. I'm really glad it exists. I think it could have survived in theaters, but I actually do kind of understand also why it's on Peacock, because it just wasn't. If you did a big marketing plan for it and you like kept telling people how awesome it was and fun it was, if it's kind of movie, if expectations got too high, I feel like people would have picked it apart a lot more than they have. But it seems like everybody really enjoys it. It's more of a nice surprise rather than expecting a whole lot and then getting something pretty great, if that makes any sense to me. So I think they actually nailed the marketing and stuff with this one. Hopefully word of mouth will get around and the right people will see it and enjoy it. Not expect too much out of it, but even then I think you'll have a good time. Yeah, so it's an 8 out of 10 for me. I enjoyed it. Make sure you click the subscribe button so you don't miss that Kevin Williamson films ranking coming up later this week, and all the other cool shit that we've done. We've got Friday the 13th videos, we've got Scream update videos, all sorts of good stuff. So comment down below, let me know what you guys thought of Sick and if you enjoyed it or not, and I love your fucking faces. We'll see you soon. Halloween never ends, suck my fucking dick, and I don't really care what Blumhouse fucking says. Put him in a box, or suck a fucking cock. You can say he's dead, but we all know he's not. Yeah. So let's go trick-or-treating, let's go fucking drinking, let's all go rent Pumpkinhead on VHS, cause Halloween never ends.